affectionately known by my natural hair and lock side as Pammie. Hello, welcome. Sorry, I left my coffee on the floor next to me. I want it on the table. Anywho, my name is Pammie. I am a loctician and natural hair care specialist, organic natural hair care specialist, and lockologist. Um, just going over and reiterating what that is. A loctician speaks for itself. I start, maintain, and keep the health of your locks up. Um, a lockologist is a person who studies locks. So you don't necessarily have to be a loctician to be a lockologist. Just the key word ology is the study of. So that's what a lockologist. I study locks from its origins to every new evolving because the lock community is ever evolving community. So therefore, it's that's their breast in these things, right? Um, and special natural hair care specialist, organic, means that I take care and care for your natural hair in its natural state. I do little to none to change or alter its natural state, right? Um, so I don't use high chemicals to process or high intensive heat, none of that stuff. I care for your hair in its natural state. So yes, I'm going to go and share with a few more people. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm still here. I'm just going to making sure that everybody knows that we are live, so they can come on in. Now, the funny thing is, I did a whole poll. It's like, what day works best for you? Everybody was like Wednesday at 7. Anyway, that's okay because they come back and we watch the the replay when they can't be here at 7 o'clock, and that's fine. It's fine. 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 So yeah. Now coming in here, sharing with a few people so they come on in the room and whatnot, and of course, never reminding them they can come on in now because we are here, we are live, and mm, it's still light outside after 7 o'clock. I love it. Do y'all know I missed daylight saving time. Thank goodness everything but the microwave in the house moved up on the time on this phone. Man, listen, if I had to rely, thank God I ain't had to get up and go nowhere because I sure as hell would have been late. Yeah, I would have been so embarrassed. I'm like, I'm late. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. But it be like that sometime, right? So nah, she mad at me right now. I don't need no negative energy right now. I'll never be mad. Dear Lord. Let's see. Did I get everybody? I did. Okay. Coming back. Coming back in the room. Hello again. Hi, hi, hi. Oh no, 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 no. I forgot. I forgot. Okay, okay. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Sugar. Ah. Yeah, come on, come on. I'm here for it. All right. All right. Now I'm good. All right. So, welcome to Lock Talk Live again. Um, just waiting a few minutes to let people get a chance to come on in. Hit that like button as you come in. Say hi to the chat room so I know who's here. Yeah, I wish it would tell me like when you walk in the room who's here, but I can't see until you say something. So please say hello. Hello, 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 hello. Why do you call it Lock Talk Live? I call it Lock Talk Live because of one simple thing. It's just because I have locks. I'm not just talking about locks. I'm talking about all hair. Natural hair, loose natural hair, and locks. Right? So that is the whole point of it. Hello, hello, welcome. Come on in. Say hi in the chat so I see who you are. So that's why I call it Lock Talk Live. That's just my name that I gave it. Makes it easy for people to know what I represent. I represent lock and natural hair. Now, the vast majority of my clients happen to be lock clients. I have a good handful of natural hair care clients that want their natural hair care cared for in its natural state. In its natural state. Oftentimes people think because it's their natural hair and it's not a chemical process that they're, it's not it's it's still organic. But when you use high intensive heat and stuff like that, it's not quite organic. It's caring for your natural hair. Don't get me wrong, but organic is just more keeping things as natural as possible without altering the hair. Okay, so that's why I call it Lost Talk Live, because I'm a lot people. Now, let's talk about this hat that I'm wearing. See, it says Natural Bang. I have another one that says Lock Bang too, but I have popped the strap on the back and I trimmed that about it. So, let's see what side is it. This side, yeah. So, this is by Hair Locker. I'm going to put her website in the descriptions below when I, do my little edit and stuff before I post it for people to watch the replay. I love her stuff. I got a few hats from her. What I love about her hats is that you can see I have my hair up in a bun, so all of my hair is sticking out the back like that. It's kind of sloppy joints, but it's all sticking out the back like this. And then I still get to, have the eyes apart in the front, covering my eyes and protecting my eyes from the light and the sun and all of that stuff. And that's why I love her hats. But here's the best. And this is not the only kind of hat she sells. She sells like bucket hats and all kinds of other crazy stuff too. T-shirts, bags. She has an excellent inventory. Just visit her website. You'll see it in the description below, right? Inside of this hat is also satin lined on the inside. I have the time. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for letting me know that I don't have time. And let me see what I have set on. Um, okay. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Can you hear me now? Tell me if you can hear me now. Tell me if you can hear me now. You hear me now? Okay, excellent. Thank you. I see the name Drunk, but who are you? I'm sorry. Are you somebody that I know? Hi, Karen. How are you? Hi, Lisa. Loud and clear. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me know that. So, dang, I need to go back. Rewind. Woo, 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 woo. So again, welcome to Locs Talk Live. My name is Pamela, affectionately known to everyone as Pammie. I'm a loctician, lockologist, and organic natural hair care specialist. What does all those things mean? Loctician speaks for itself. I start and maintain locks. For all of you that are in here, oh, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you being here. I just want to make sure you're not somebody I know that's like came in under a different name. That's all. You are more than welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for coming. Hi, Vanessa. Please hit that like button if you are viewing from your phone because Lisa and I went through this last time a couple of weeks back. Close the live chat for a second, hit the like button, and reopen the live chat, and then you can come back and resume. Now, getting back to me, loctician speaks for itself. I start, maintain, and keep up with people's natural locks. um, Organic natural hair care specialist simply means that I take care of your loose natural hair in its natural state. I do not do much of anything to alter the state of your hair, from high heat to high chemical bleaching and things like that. I do, however, color hair, but only with organic natural colors. I don't remove color from your hair to put, you know, colors in your hair and things like that. That's not something I do. I can do it. I just choose not to because that's not the platform that I represent. Lockologist is simply the study of locks. I study its from its origins to everything moving forward. Lock community is an ever changing community, so you got to stay abreast and keep, just learning everything you can about it. What I was speaking about before I was told so graciously by Drunk here. It's weird calling you Drunk. What's your name, baby? You sweet. What's your name? As I was being told by this gracious person, um, that it was no sound. I was talking about my hat. My hat says Natural Bay, right? It's probably reading backwards on your side. I'm not sure. Hopefully, it's not. Um, I got it from what's that? Right here, Hair Locker. So I'm going to put her website down in my descriptions below, and she has an array of things. She sells hats, t-shirts, bags, and different accessories and things like that. What I love about these hats is that they are satin lined on the inside. I'm not taking it off because then that means messing my hair up, and I ain't doing that. I already got a sloppy bone up here, and it took me. I don't know why it took me so long to put it up because I think I was rushing to do it. Hey, cuz, what's up, girl? How you do? um, so generally speaking, I'm going to put her website down in the description so you can have a look. But I love her hats. They're satin lined, so they're not going to snag and pull at your hair. I love how it's open in the back, so it allows me to put my long locks that hangs all the way down to my backside up into a bun and still wear a baseball cap. Cover my eyes, keep the sun out, and all of that stuff. Um, what else is there? So that's where I got before I was told that I couldn't be heard. But I'm glad that y'all can hear me. And thank you for the compliment on my paintings in the back. These paintings keep me in my happy place. I love to paint. I do go to paint and sip sometimes, and sometimes I just sit my behind at home and paint on my own. These paintings and all the other ones that I have hanging around my home, are what kept me sane throughout this nightmare of a pandemic. It helped me keep my sanity and peace of mind because I was able to focus on something other than the chaos that was happening in the world. So that's why I fell in love with painting. It became my savior, and it still is. Um, so let me go back and read some of the comments here. So I'll make sure I said hello to everybody in here. So yes, I do have Drunk. I'm gonna call you Drunk until you give me your name, baby. Karen, thank you for coming. Hi, Lisa, Vanessa, and my cousin Shanita. How y'all doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming. Peace and blessings. So, lots talk. I had did some notes here, right? So first, I want to open up by talking about the importance of a proper moisturizing routine, because I have a new client that I'm going to be doing a consultation with soon, and one of the questions that she posted in her questionnaire was, um, "How do I keep my hair from being so dry and breaking?" So this is a very good thing, because this is a very common question that is asked when I. Part of my consultation is I give a questionnaire to my clients to answer a number of questions to help better prepare me, so that we get everything covered in the time allotted for the consultation. A moisture routine is very important, but here's the problem: a lot of people misconstrue um, oiling their scalp as moisturizer. Oil is not, I repeat, not a moisturizer. It aids in moisturizing routine, but it is a sealant. How do I describe that? Okay. Number one, your scalp is your skin. You see how my skin is kind of got a glow to it? It's because our skin naturally creates an oil on its own. Your scalp is also your skin, so it also creates an oil. It also has pores, the same way your skin on your face and anywhere else on your body does. The pores on your hair and your scalp is a lot larger. They're called follicles. So they're bigger. They're like the Grand Canyon of pores, if you want to put it that way. Because not only does it have hair growing out of them, but they still have opening around it to allow other things like bacteria to get in there, or oil, when you're using it too much, will get in there, clog it up, and cause damage and stunt hair growth. This is why oil, as good as it is for you, when you use it proportionally and sensible, without overusing it. People hear magic words like growth oil, and they be like, "Oh, that makes my hair grow," and they think they have to use a whole lot of it. You do not want to overstimulate your scalp with growth oil. It's great to use. People know that castor oil is great for hair growth, but castor oil is also extremely thick, so it can clog up and damage your hair follicles. So, proper moisture routine consists of a water based moisturizer. Um, Oftentimes, it is determined by the porosity of your hair, how much water or moisture your hair needs to drink. And that's based on how open the cuticles are on your hair. So, cuticles lay down like scales, like this, on each hair. So when it's low porosity hair, cuticles are flat like this. So it's going to take a thinner, more liquefied moisturizer to get underneath those cuticles to really moisturize your hair. Oftentimes, when you have low porosity hair, the best type of moisturizer is steam. Get right up, swell up, open up a little bit, allows moisture to get in there, right? Medium moisturizer, medium porosity, it's the easiest because you have the cuticles, but the cuticles are slightly open, just enough to let moisture get in, but close enough to hold it in there so that it retains and holds onto moisture for a good amount of time. Now, here's the thing though, with medium porosity hair, you have to be careful with how dense the moisturizer you're using, because a lot of times people like to use creamy moisturizers. Now, I don't recommend using creamy moisturizers on your locks because it can get stuck in there and burrow down in there and cause a lot of buildup. However, if you lose natural, you can, because you can wash it off, right? Um, then there's high porosity hair. Now, high porosity hair generally isn't high porosity on the natural. It's not usually natural. It's not very usual for natural hair to be high porosity. High porosity hair is when the cuticles is wide open. Just think about if I took a swig of my coffee and I kept talking, and the coffee is just going to keep falling out my mouth, right? So it's like the cuticles are so open that the moisture leaves just as fast as it came in. So you need something that's going to stick. So that's where I recommend more of a dense, creamier moisturizer, right? Now, here's where the oil comes in. Again, You can use oil. I like to use very, very lightweight essential oils and dilute it with a carrier oil um, when I'm using it for one. Or I'll make something and put like little drops of it in there so it's still a liquid base and I'm just spraying it onto my scalp where it's not some crazy nonsense going on. The whole key to it is using an oil that's really light and using a little bit at a time. You do not need a lot of it. To use it as a sealant, once you moisturize your hair, you just put a little bit of oil on it and create this coat on top to help hold it in, especially if you have medium or high porosity hair, it helps seal it in. So that is with moisture. Now, moisture routine can be anywhere from every day, which I do, because that's why my hair stays soft and light, to every other day. But you don't want to go long periods of time without moisturizing your hair because it will dehydrate. You think about dehydrated things like raisins or something like that, right? You can rehydrate. You can rehydrate a raisin, but it's never going to be plump like the grape it used to be, right? So you don't want to get to a place where dehydration happens because rehydration is very difficult and in some cases impossible. It depends on how severely dehydrated your hair can get. Just like if your body is dehydrated, if it gets too dehydrated, you you, you know you're gone, right? So yeah, same. That's how that is. So let me make sure there's no questions. I was chasing food. You was chasing food, but it's late. What food were you chasing, Vanessa? Yeah, oil is not good to overuse. Hi, Andrea. How are you? Don't forget to hit that like button when you come in. So that's why it's very important to maintain a moisture routine. Whether you have locks or loose natural hair, you got to make sure you keep your hair moisturized. A lot of times, especially if you have locks, if you shower, I usually put my hair up like this in the sloppy bun, and I let the steam from the shower do its thing. I still have my moisturizing sprays over there on the table, and I mean a lot. I got a lot of stuff over there on the table. Refresher sprays that I use. My peculiar roots. I'm wearing a t-shirt. See, um, but I use refresher spray on my hair. That's my moisturizer. It's a liquid base made with rose water, and then it has wheat protein and things in it to help to keep my hair strong and stuff like that. There's conditioning oil, growth serum oil, and stuff like that. So all of those things are part of my routine. But again, you gotta be careful. Now I do have a video talking about hair moisturizer in very vast information that I will post in my end card at the end of this video after I finish editing and putting all the good stuff in there. Again, I do apologize for the first few minutes of this where my sound could not be heard. So I appreciate the feedback and letting me know what it was. The sound wasn't off; it was all the way down to like 5%, so it was like super low. I don't know why. I'm loud as hell, but still couldn't speak loud enough. I did turn it down because last week when I was listening back, it sounded like I was yelling at y'all, and I'm not yelling. I'm talking in a normal voice, and I was like, "Oh, why am I yelling at these people?" So, what's the next one? How to treat itchy scalp. Now, there's a number of reasons why your scalp is going to itch, right? Um, I want to go back for a minute about talking about growth oil. A lot of times when people overuse growth oil because they want their hair to grow, they want it to grow, so they use a lot of it. What happens is that growth oil, the biotin and other things that's in it that helps aid in your hair growing and stimulates your scalp to make your hair grow, what happens is your scalp gets overstimulated. And when it's overstimulated, it starts to feel itchy. If it's extremely stimulated, it starts to literally feel like it's burning. And you be like last week, if any, Vanessa, you was here last week. You noticed that I kept reaching up and doing this. It was because right before I started the live, I had put growth serum in my hair. No, it wasn't growth serum. It was a growth spray that I had made, and I sprayed my hair with it, so it was stimulating my hair, and I was like, oh god. So I had to. I realized I had to adjust and pipe back. I can't use it too often or too much of it because it's powerful. I did buy um some oils to help with my hair growth that would be more beneficial for me because, as I shared last week, I'm perimenopausal. So, hair thinning is one of the symptoms of that. So, I did some research and found other oils that would be more beneficial to make sure that I keep up with my hair growth that will also benefit my hormone balance as well. So that's why you saw me doing that. And I was kept, rubbing it. And I wasn't scratching it with my nails. I used the tip of my finger to kind of just use my hair as an exfoliant to scratch. So that's what I was doing. Yes, you saw, right? So that's one of the reasons why I itch. Now here's another reason why, because this is very common. If you work out and you sweat, what happens is, especially if you're between washers, when you sweat, bacteria joins with that sweat, and as it's drying, it's going down into your hair follicles, and that's causing the itchiness. You want to kill that bacteria while your hair is still damp from you sweating before it dries. So you want to treat it before it dries. Now, there are two agents that I highly recommend that you can use to get that under control right away while your hair is still wet. This company right here, they have this spray called Aloe Vera Refresher Spray. There's a second company that I recently started buying products from called Made for Locs. They also have Aloe Vera Refresher Spray. One, the aloe in it will help soothe your scalp and maintain and pipe down the itching, right? Two, it also has non-alcohol witch hazel inside of it as one of the ingredients. Now, that witch hazel is what's going to kill that bacteria before it gets down into your hair follicles. But the key is to treat it before that happens. Another thing that you can do if you can't get a hold of that is two things. You can make your own spray that you can use on your hair, right? That is apple cider vinegar diluted with water. So it's 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar per 1 cup of water. You put it in the spray bottle and you can spray it directly on your scalp. Apple cider vinegar is a microbial agent which will kill any bacteria that can get down into your hair follicle and cause any kind of a bacterial infection or anything, which is why you get that itching that's going on. But you want to treat it before the sweat dries. Don't let it dry before you treat it. Spray, spray, spray. Or get some witch hazel without alcohol in it, because there is witch hazel with alcohol and then there's witch hazel that doesn't have alcohol in it. You want to get the one without alcohol. And you can also dilute that in a bottle. Half witch hazel, half water. Right? Put that on there. You can even put a couple of drops of peppermint oil in it to help soothe your scalp. That will kill the bacteria and it will soothe your scalp and get the itching gone, right? And then let it dry, air dry. Don't put nothing on it because you don't want to pack your hair in nothing while it's wet. We had a whole video about that too. It's called lock rot. You don't want it. You don't want it, especially if there's bacteria. And that also answers the question when people say, well, when I sweat, and this is a lot of times when people with locks, they said, when I sweat, it's this funky smell that comes from my hair when I'm sweating. That's the sweat mixed with the bacteria. That's when you know the smellier it is, the more bacteria there is. You need to treat that. If there's no bacteria, it's not going to be funky like that. It's not going to smell sour like that. And washing it won't make it go away either. You have to kill the bacteria. So a lot of times people be like, when they smell that because of the sweat, they think all they have to do is wash their hair and it goes away. If you've ever been in a situation where you washed your hair after you've gone to the gym and sweated and you have that sour funky scent coming from your scalp because of the sweat, and you wash it and you still smell it after you washed it, it's because shampoo doesn't kill the bacteria. You have to kill that bacteria. So The two things that can kill, the three things now, because I'm giving you the third one, is tea tree oil. That is also a microbial agent, and it will definitely kill any bacteria that can get down. These are all preventive things because you don't want bacteria getting down into your hair follicle because then it can lead to something even worse, which is a scalp condition that's very common called folliculitis. In our community, it's very common for people to get boils. If you have an abscess for folliculitis on your scalp, it feels very much like if you had a boil on your scalp. It's extremely painful, very painful. A lot of times when you see young men with all of that stuff going on the back of their neck because they went to the barber and the barber didn't use clean clippers, folliculitis. It's not just ingrown hairs, it's also bacteria that got down into those hair follicles and caused a whole staph infection on the back of their neck. That's what that is. Kill the bacteria. Right. Okay. Um, taking notes. Tea tree oil is everything. Tea tree oil is fantastic, Vanessa. However, a lot of people use it improperly. Tea tree oil is an essential oil, and like most essential oils, it is very potent and should not be used directly on the skin. And the problem is a lot of people use it directly on their skin. What happens? It can it can literally singe your skin, right? So you don't want that to happen. You have to dilute it in a carrier oil. Most carrier oil, my favorite carrier oil to use is fractionated coconut oil. When it comes down to, because it's very thin, it's not thick and heavy, and it will hold on to the other oils when you only need a few drops of it, right? And it won't swallow it or just devour it. I have a lot of oils over there on the table. I love my oils. I love my oils. And you only need a few drops in all of them for them to do their job, you know? So my oil bottles are little teeny tiny little bottles like that small, and they last me for like 6 months to a year. Depends on how often I need to use them. Little tiny bottles. And remember, I know if it was me just by myself, it'll last me even longer than that. But you got to remember, I'm looking out for my people, for my clients. So when they have scalp issues and stuff like that, I use my essential oils for scalp treatments and things like that too. Am I going to share my recipes? No, sir. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. I can tell you what to use for some things, but yeah, no, some things, some secrets got to be left on those. You know how that is. You know how that is. So let's go to the next thing here. Okay. So this next question is generally for anyone who had just started locks or are considering locks. Here's another tip that you have to really look into preparing yourself for is the timeline. A lot of people are not prepared for the timeline. Like for me, example, and I was one of them. If you've known me throughout my entire journey, it took forever for my hair to lock because of my hair texture. I have a very soft and curly hair texture, so it was really long process for my hair to lock. I think I was waiting almost 2 years. I almost was like, let me tell you. But I was like, I'm not giving up. But I was getting frustrated. I learned a lot through trial and error my first 2 years in my journey. The first 2 years is the most important. And so that's where the patience has to come in. Be prepared for that window because the cycle is really within that window of time from going from starter locks through the buzzing phase, aka the ugly phase. And there's no such thing as that, but this is what a lot of people refer to that as because the budding phase, you have a lot of bumpy and misshapen, weird looking locks, and there's a lot of frizziness, and they're like, what the hell is going on here? And then to see it transform from that to
this. They like, how did that happen? Because you got to just be patient. It's just patience. It's like raising kids. You can't expect your kids to come out knowing how to walk and talk and do all the stuff and go and get a job right away and buy their own houses. You got to teach them all that stuff, right? And this is it's the same kind of patience you need to have. You got to be like a patient parent when it comes to your locks. Same thing with your natural hair. A lot of people have a very hard time. The process of going back to your natural roots is not easy. It's because it's not just as easy as just cutting off processed hair. You have to unlearn a lot of stuff that was drilled into your mind growing up. We were taught about texturism, which is another layer to colorism. Like, if you don't have straight or wavy or soft, long hair, you don't have good hair. Like, we've been taught that if you have thicker, curlier hair, it's not good hair. I look, all hair for me is good hair as long as it's healthy. What hair is not good for me is unhealthy hair. When I see people holding on to and salvaging length and it's unhealthy hair, split ends, dead hair, it's just a hot mess just sitting up there because you just want to feel your hair laying on you. Don't do that. Like, let that go. It's easier, believe it or not, it's easier to let go than it is. It's so painful holding on. It is. I saw an illustration of that once. It was a picture of somebody holding a rope. God, you get a little warm and everybody get their motorcycles out. Y'all heard that? It's like somebody was holding on to a rope, right? And the rope was just tearing up their skin and just had them bleeding. And the other side had let go of the rope. Now, don't get me wrong, letting go, that shit, I'm gonna say it, the shit hurts. It hurts to let go. You're going to go through a grieving process. You're going to feel like, oh my God, you're going to feel the separation anxiety and all of that stuff. But you do get through it. You do get past it. The same way when we grieve the loss of a loved one. It hurts like hell when it happens, but we learn to live on without them. Same thing happens when you cut your hair. You just need to take a minute. Trust me, it's better to let go than to hold on, because when you hold on, you destroy everything that's going on up there, as opposed to just letting go of the part that's already been damaged, right? Um, moving on, conditioner. Conditioner is lovely, isn't it? Because it relaxes the hair a little bit, makes it easier to detangle, makes your hair nice and soft. But what if I told you people out here misusing conditioner? Please, for the love of God, if you wash your hair at night before you go to bed, do not sleep with conditioner in your hair all night. That's another primary cause for one conditioner. Most conditioners have silicone in it. So now you just created this barrier on your hair that's going to be hard to clean off. Silicone is very hard to clean off and get out of your hair. Very hard. You can get it out, but it takes work to get it out. But if you have conditioner on your hair way too long, one, your hair's going to turn into this mush. Your hair should never be that texture. Um, it makes it easier and more susceptible for tangling. It leaves your hair feeling really dull and heavy, and that barrier that the silicone causes won't allow actual moisture that you need to get into your hair because now you have this invisible barrier that's on top of the cuticles of your hair. The cuticles is protecting everything inside, but then you got this saran wrap clear barrier that's not allowing moisture to get in there. So underneath the barrier, right, you have moisture for a minute because you had this stuff on your hair all night, right? But then when it starts to evaporate and dry out and you need more moisture in there, it's not going to get in there because the barrier's there. So now your hair's dehydrating and dying underneath that barrier, and you're like, why is it breaking off? I wash and condition it all the time. I get it. Conditioner, when it says on the bottle to put it in, massage it, leave it 3 to 5 minutes, and rinse, do that. No conditioner that you buy is going to tell you to keep it in your hair all night and sleep with it on your hair. I guarantee it. You can read any label, and none of them is going to tell you to sleep overnight with conditioner in your hair. That is a big mistake, and you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Okay, do not sleep with more. Don't sleep with conditioner in your hair all night. Please. There are leave-in conditioner moisturizers that you can put in your hair. That because I like to do my moisture routine at night before I go to bed. And I put my bonnet on and I go to sleep. Right, but leave-in conditioner is fine, Lisa. It's just like don't pack it on your hair so much where you have to wash it off the next day. That means you still used too much. Leave-in conditioner is absolutely fine to put on your hair. But there are people that are washing their hair and then using conditioner that you're supposed to be rinsing out of your hair on their hair all night. Or they'll put a clay mask in their hair and they'll leave it all night. Or they'll put um, an oil mask in their hair and they leave it on all night. You're not supposed to leave it on for hours. At best, you leave it in because they have deep conditioners that you can leave in your hair for like up to a half hour to with a heat cap and stuff, but it's still not hours overnight. You don't want to over condition your hair like that because like I said, you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. But also, you have to be very careful with conditioners because all conditioner is not good conditioner. Read your labels. I have a whole Locs talk in here talking about it's a two-part series. Beauty is not pain, and in part two, that's also in there. If you just look at my playlist that says Locs Talk, you'll see both of them there. It's talking about the most dangerous ingredients that are in hair products and things like that. And the reason why I'm talking so much about products like conditioner and stuff like that is like products are great. Don't get me wrong, products are excellent. However, people are putting way too much faith in using products and not enough into the care that they put into taking care of their hair. You still have to use these things in moderations. Just because something is made for you for that particular thing, such as your hair, doesn't mean that you overuse it. The same way, like I was saying before, things that we eat and consume, while it may be good for us, does not mean you have to stuff. If you can still become obese eating too much of what is considered healthy. And as I said before, hell, if you drink too much water, it can literally kill you. And water is good for you, right? But too much. So you have to be, you got to think about all of these things. The sun is good for you as well. But if you're out in it too long, what happens? You get melanoma. You can get skin cancer if you're out in the sun too long without protecting your skin, right? So you have to think about all these things, right? So that leaves that information. Make sure when you do use conditioner, conditioner is great. And I don't like to tell people not to do anything at all. I'm not 100% against anything. There are certain benefits that some things do have with your hair. But again, very small, moderation, every now and then is fine. But don't just do it all the time and then expect your hair to stay healthy. All right. Okay, so a friend of mine asked me this question: do you have to have a specific type of hair to get locks? And the short answer is no. No, 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 no. And I'm saying that no. No, you don't. All all hair is lockable. All hair is lockable. Um, and again, going back to being a lockologist, now I've done a lot of studying, and I'm as far back as before 3500 BC now with the information that I have dug deep in them crates looking for. And like I said, all hair is like a lockable. Um, it's different methods of how hair is locked. Now you have a very softer, more straighter European type straight hair. The locks come together by the hair literally just matting and getting tangled together. Right? The further you go up with the curl pattern, what happens is like what happened with my hair. My curls was more like that. They weren't like really tight where you're like, oh, my shrinkage game, and then I pull like a short afro, and then it's like a foot and a half long. Like my length was actually showing. Like I didn't have to pull it far for you to see my full length. Um, my sister though, with her hair, my older sister, I hated her because you couldn't tell that her hair what her length was until she stretched it out, and it was like, that jealous eye roll, like. But yeah, I love the shrinkage game when people be like, "Oh, you think I ain't got no hair?" and they do that. I love that. Um, for me, that's the most lockable hair. It locks like that. However, that's where I get the most complaints about how short. Oh, my locks are short. No, they're not. That's how it is. And the thing is, with my hair, part of the process when I was going through the process of my hair lock, and I was like, oh, look how my hair is growing, right? But then the part of the process when you have more of a curly textured hair is the curls. They get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then they lock together like that, right? That's what makes it easier with us. We are able to comb our locks out and still maintain the length of our hair because it's just a matter of unraveling and taking apart those curls. It takes time, it takes work, but it can be done. And the hair that comes out, be the hair that you see come out is not hair that's breaking off unless they're doing it incorrectly. Most of the hair that's coming out is the hair that we didn't shed for all of those years that we had our locks in. That's why if you look at a person, if you have locks in your hair and you started them and you had the little skinny, scraggly locks like I had before, they got like this, they get fuller and thicker because you're not shedding hair like you normally would do. On a daily basis, humans shed hair just like any furry animal would shed hair. We lose hair every day. Up to 200 strands of hair comes out of our head every day and it's replaced with a new strand. We don't keep the same hair all the time. We do shed. It's a normal human natural thing. We shed. But if you have locks, there's nowhere for it to go but to just stay put because it's intertwined with the rest of your hair, right? So when you do comb out your locks, most of that hair that comes out is hair that you shedded over that time that you had locks in your hair. So, yeah. Wow, 50 minutes. Any more questions? Because I made sure I made a list. Even if I had people in here, I made sure I made a list of stuff to talk about. So those are the things that I have on here. So now the last 10 minutes, and I want to talk about how your hair journey connects to your growth, your life journey, and how you grow as a person. Um, Now, when I got my locks, I was well into my healing journey, right? I still had a long way to go, still to this day. There's a lot for me to master as far as I want for myself, but I've come a mighty long way. And part of that I owe homage to my lock journey for. Um, Now, not everybody with locks is a spiritual person. Not everybody with natural hair is a spiritual person. I am though, and I'm just sharing how it helped me to find my connections in my roots and with the universe. Um, I'm gonna use if you ever seen the movie The Wiz, that's like a journey of what your life is throughout your lifetime and how you find balance in the universe. When you hear things like happiness is an inside job, and success is an inside job. Everything, um, you have to fill your cup before you start giving to others and stuff like that, right? So you look at Dorothy, for example. She was constantly giving, 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 giving. And she was very codependent. She didn't want to leave, home, living with her aunt and uncle. She didn't want to take a job at another school because she felt safe and cozy and comfortable. But we can't we can't stay comfortable. We have to get comfortable with we have to be get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And Locs is very uncomfortable in the beginning of your journey. Natural hair, when you cut off all that processed hair and you did the big chop and now you're natural, and you, especially you young ladies, oh, I'm out here look like a boy. You have to get uncomfortable, right? To find your place of peace and comfort. So it's a process to get through. And I don't like telling people to trust the process, but trust your journey and where you're going with yourself, right? So sometimes we are put in a position where we are thrown into this whirlwind, like Dorothy was thrown into this tornado, and she landed in a place where she was unfamiliar with, right? So again, starting the lock journey or going back to your natural root, you've been thrown what appears to be different and unknown to you. But as you navigate and make your way through, you realize you know this place. You've always known this place because this place was inside of her. She never left home. And she realized that at the end. And it took Glenda coming to her to tell her. And the funny thing is, you look at how her journey went. She was afraid, she was scared, and then she was put in positions where she was forced to defend herself. And then she was placed in front of people who were further behind in their journey than she was. She was further ahead already. So she was able to look back and give advice and tell them it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be transparent, right? And it made them stronger as a group and they came together. And it was at the very end when they realized that the wizard was a fraud. When she told them all everything that they was looking for, a brain, a heart, courage, they had all along. Still able to give out all of the advice, but not realizing that the same applied to her. And we are all in that headspace where we can give our advice to other people and tell them, this is where the light is. Go find it. It's all in you. Your happiness is in you. You have to give to yourself. It's easy to give that advice out. But when it's our turn, we don't even see it. It took somebody on the outside looking in. When Glenda showed up and said, everything you just told them about themselves, you had it in you too. That's when she realized where she was never a unfamiliar place because it was inside of her. The place she was seeking was always within her. And along the way, the friends she made were the right people that needed to go on her journey with her. This is why surrounding yourself with the right community and the right people is important. You're put into these positions. You don't meet anybody by mistake. Even if their time in your life is short lived, nobody that I've met in my life, I met by mistake. Even the people that hurt me and broke my heart, I didn't meet them by mistake. It was meant to teach me something, right? So, yes, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that is what it is in the lock journey. You are going to be very unfamiliar. You're going to feel unfamiliar. You're going to feel uncomfortable. But when you surround yourself with the right people, with the right community, You will get through your journey. I promise you that. That's what I serve as when I'm not just the person that sits you in a chair and does stuff with your hair. I teach you about your hair. I teach you about yourself and the connection that you have with your natural self and your hair. I help you to see you from a different point of view. You still have to see yourself the way you see yourself, but I help you to see you. So I'm down to the last couple of minutes. If there is anything else um, you would like to talk about, um, any questions that might be important that would be good to talk about next week, you know, um, just put them in the chat or put them in the comment if you're watching this on the replay because, a lot of times, people, they have other stuff that's going on in their lives and they don't have the time to come and sit with me for an hour at 7 o'clock, but they come later because last week I got quite a few people that came in later, and I appreciate that. I love you. I really do. Um, I will be talking next week about proper questions that you can ask if you're seeking a loctician in your area. Because a lot of times I'm finding more and more that a lot of locticians are not actually doing full on consultations. Consultations are very important because it's the opportunity to really learn the client, what they've been doing with their hair, um, what they're capable of doing to help with the maintenance of their hair and stuff like that. So that's important. Same thing with natural hair. Um, I enjoy taking care of people's natural hair in this natural state. Um, I've been working with Lisa for, we're coming up on a year soon, right, Lisa? Um, it's been quite a journey. I love how healthy her hair is growing. And I did want to go fight the people that did her hair last because I was like, well, why they do this to you, girl? But I'm loving how healthy and beautiful and strong her hair is now. She always come back with her Angela Davis afro. I love it. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining me this evening for Locs Talk Live. The first few minutes technically was, quiet. Nobody can hear me. I'm probably going to edit and trim the video some so that that part is not there, especially if you can't hear me because it just make people leave. They're like, oh, I can't even hear this. And they'll leave and miss this gem of information. So thank you for joining me for Locs Talk Live. If you are not busy, I am going to be headed to Instagram for After Locs Talk Live, and we're going to talk in there and talk more about stuff like that. So thank you so much, Vanessa, Lisa, Andrea, Karen. Who else was in here? Shanita, Drunk. Thank you for coming. Please come back next week every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I appreciate you coming in. All right. Y'all have a good night. Love you. Bye.